Hare Krishna. Today is Saturday, July 25, 2020, and by the mercy and kripa of Guruho and Gauranga, we will be continuing with where we left off last Saturday, which is the wonderful treatise or the Mangalarti known as the Gurvashtakam, verse number 7, and today will be part 2. Last time we only covered mainly one word of the first line of the 7th verse. Sri Vasudha Chakravarti is so nicely elaborating in this verse the importance and the similarities of Guru and Krishna, of the pure devotee and the Supreme Lord. This verse is Shakshat Haritena Samasta Shastra Ukta Tata Bhavyata Eva Sadvi Kinto Prabhoya Priya Tasya Vande Guruho Sri Charanaravindam. So last time we discussed the first two words, Sakshat Haritena. Sakshat, we briefly will revise about what we discussed last time. Sakshat means direct. Actually in English there is no such perfect word that can describe this Sanskrit word of Sakshat. Actually the word Sakshat comprises of two words. If you do the Sandhi Viched, if you break it down, Sa Aksha Iti Sakshat. Sa means those or that, and Akshat means the senses. Aksha means eyes, and in a general sense it means with our sense perception. So something that we can perceive with our sense perception is called sakshat. Something that we can see with our eyes, or we can feel with our touch, or we can hear the voice of a person, etc. That perception is known as sakshat. Something that can be absorbed, something that can be understood with our senses. So sakshat haritena. Haritena, Hari means the Supreme Lord, and Tvena means the quality of the Supreme Lord. And we discussed the meaning of Hari last time. There are so many different meanings of Hari, but the general meaning is Hara. One who takes away is known as Hari. And what does Hari take away? So Hari has promised in the Bhagavad Gita, especially the main essence of the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18, verse number 66. He says that Krishna says, he promises that Sarva Dharman Paritajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tam Sarva Papebhya Mokshashyami Masucha. O Arjun, do not worry, do not lament. I will take care of all your sinful reactions if you give up all varieties of different religiosities or different perceptions of duty or dharma, and you surrender unto me only. So it is very, very difficult to, in our normal world, if we see somebody has got a lot of debt, let's say somebody has got, say, 10 crores rupees, or say $5 million of debt, it's a lot of money. I'm just giving a very simple example. And if we go to our friends or family members, or to several of them, and we say that, look, I'm in need of this kind of money. So some of our well-wishers will give us whatever according to their capacity is, a few thousand rupees, a few lakh rupees. But to give crores is an extremely a difficult task to absolve. So what to talk about if we look at, since time immemorial, the words that our Shastras use is Anadi Kal. Since time immemorial, we are indebted. We are indebted to each other, to different species who may have helped us in our journey in a particular birth. The Devi Devtas or the demigods, who constantly we are in debt. We are breathing the air, drinking the water, etc. And then not only that, but the sinful reactions or the pious reactions that are incurred, uh, like a snowball. It's a never ending. It only keeps on gathering momentum. Like somebody who has borrowed money from a loan shark, somebody who has borrowed money from a very high interest loan source, sometimes they are not even to pay even a fraction of the principal, and interest is accruing interest, and interest is accruing interest. It just kind of snowballs bigger and bigger and bigger. So can we all imagine that those entities, including us who are in this material world, how much karmic reactions we have accumulated since Anadikal? And nobody can absolve us from that except the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna himself. So one of the meanings of Hari is to take away all those karmic reactions and make us free, karma free, so that we can enter into a different realm or a different dimension of existence known as pure bhakti. And pure bhakti is only, the foundation of pure bhakti is when we are bereft of anya bilashita shunya jnana karma anavrutam, when we are bereft of even knowledge and different karmic reactions, or any kind of and gross uh, subtle and gross mentality, or subtle and gross actions that will constantly snowball into one karmic reaction, growing and growing and growing, never ending. So somebody who can take that away is known as Hari. So similarly, in this particular reference, Sri Guruho, the pure devotees, the preceptors, they are actually not different from Hari, because they are capable of, once anybody who shows even some respect, love, and service to such persons, then they are capable. And even without that, just simply by their darshan, they are able to absolve us of karmic reactions. They are able to absolve us like Hari. So Hari himself has got many different ways of displaying his mercy or kripa. Like, for example, the Supreme Lord, he bestowed his mercy to many devotees by coming yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Whenever there was irreligiosity to establish dharma, he came dharma samsthapakaya sambhavami yuge yuge, millennium after millennium. Because the principles of religiosity, they are lost over a period of time. And the Supreme Lord Krishna is so kind that he himself comes or he sends his different incarnations to re-establish the principles of religiosity. So that is one of his personal coming down personally and helping uh, to elevate mankind is his Kripa Leela. Another Kripa Leela is by he himself speaking the words like the Bhagavad Gita, etc., or the scripture, Dharmantu Sakshat Bhagavad Pranitam. So, when in the form of scripture, like Srimad Bhagavatam is none other than Sri Krishna Parivartate. He is Srimad Bhagavatam, and the words of Krishna are non different from Krishna. Krishna's paraphernalia, Krishna's name, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's words, instructions, etc. They are non-different from him. They are also Sakshat Hari, non-different from Hari. So he comes in the form of scriptures. That is his Kripa Leela. He also comes in his form as Sri Vigraha in the temple. When we visit the temple, there he is. Wonderful. Shyamam Tribhanga Lalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, along with Radharani, along with all the associates, Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambram Sevyamanam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Gopa Pariveshtita Gopala Chudamani, served by so many different gopis, surrounded by gopis. This crown or crest jewel Gopal is being served in Sri Vrindavan Dham. So on the altar we see that the deities. So that is also the deity form is also Kripa Leela. And one of the most important components of Kripa Leela is when he sends his own messengers, when he sends his pure devotees, the gurus or the guroho. The word again and again, after every line, after every stanza that is being repeated, is Vande Guroho Sri Charanarvindam. Guroho means plural. It is just not this one particular person guiding us as a Siksha Guru or the one who has initiated us into the Harinam or into the Gayatri Dikshas, etc., or the Sannyas Diksha. But it is anybody who brings us closer to Krishna. Those pure personalities are indeed very, very much worshipable, and they should be offered obeisances. So they are actually Krishna's Kripa Leela because they are Sakshat Haritvena. Krishna has got this quality of compassion. Hey Krishna, Karuna Sindhu. He is Karuna Sindhu. And so is the Gurudev or the Guru Ho, who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. They are the Vaishnavas, the pure Vaishnavas. We say every day, Vancha Kalpatarobhascha Kripa Sindhu Vyayavacha. They are the ocean of mercy. Patita Nam Pavanebhyo. And they are the uplifters of the fallen souls. And unto such Vaishnavas, I offer my pranams, I offer my danvats. Samsara Davanal Loka Tranaya Karunya Ganaganatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. In the very first verse also, the qualities of Sri Hari are described in Guru, which is the pure compassion, which is so unlimited, like torrential rain. When this whole world, this material world known as samsara, that is continuously or a repeated place of birth and death due to non-stop karmic reactions, whether good or bad reactions. One is again and again, puna puna janam, puna puna maranam, janani jatare shayanam. Again and again, one is born in the 8,400,000 species of life based on the karmic reactions. And we are simply suffering the janma, mrityu, jara and vyadi. We are simply suffering birth, death, old age and disease repeatedly. And even within one lifetime, we are going through the pangs of diseases and so many uh, different pains, right from childhood to the old age, where when most people in old age, they are going through different vyadis or diseases. We all go through diseases right from our childhood also. So this place is samsara. Krishna describes as dukkhalayam, and it is ashashvatam. It is temporary and it is full of miseries. Dukh alayam. Alayam means it's an ocean, and dukh means miseries, and it's an ocean of miseries. So it is not possible to find bliss or anand in this material world per se. Uh, we may think that we will find that utopia, but it is impossible. And constantly, some of us understand that we are suffering, and some of us don't even know that we are suffering. Like some, as they say, ignorance is bliss. But ignorance is bliss is an illusion when we say ignorance is bliss or ignorance brings come some kind of a happiness. A crazy man simply, talking to himself and shaking his hand and head and always, day and night speaking nonsense, and he's laughing a lot. But actually, he is suffering from a very acute disease, a disease of craziness, and which most of us can see and we can sympathize and we can pity. But that person doesn't even know. So most of the people in this material world think that they are very happy. They think that they are very happy because of, and those who have uh, uh, accumulated some piety, then they understand that the only way that one can find a permanent solution is through pure bhakti. And hopefully, with that platform, one can go beyond pap and punya, beyond piety and impiety, and will be released from this repeated cycle of birth and death. And that can be only be done. This suffering is like a blazing forest fire. So this blazing forest fire will need the mercy of the Lord. Ah, just like sometimes when farmers, when they don't have enough water for months on, and the crop is devastated, the earth is completely patched dry, and the wells are dry, and the rivers are dry, and all the body sources have have been completely diminished. There is hardly any water for their daily necessities. Then people, pious people start praying that, oh Krishna, hey Prabhu, can you send some water? Otherwise we will be finished. And then the first drops of rain, when they start falling, they are so grateful to the Lord. So similarly, the mercy of the Lord is like the rain, torrential rain, thunderstorm that is required to extinguish this huge, unlimited forest fire of existence in this material world. And that role and that power is being given to Sri Guruho, to all these great Vaishnavas. And that is basically the essence of this verse. Now, also, it is to be understood, grammatically speaking, also, many people are of that impression that Guru is Bhagavan, or uh, uh, philosophies are floating around. And to specify that, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has mentioned, and the explanation that is given by Acharya is that Shakshat Haritvena Shamasta Shastra Uktastata Bhav Yata Eva Sadvi. It is the scriptures, it is said, and it is said by the Sadbi. Sad means the other pure devotees. It is the opinion of the scripture. Scripture and pure devotees are non-different. They are known as Bhagavad, both. It's the Bhagavad Shastra, the Bhagavad book, and the Bhagavad person. So they will never ever differ even by an iota, not even in an atomic or an infinitesimal way. They will differ in either the essence or the explanations, or even living in their own life the scriptural injunctions. So it is the opinion that Guru or Guruho is Sakshat Haritvena of the Shastras, of the scriptures, and also Uktastatha. It is also the opinion Bhavayata Eva Sadbhi. Sadbhi means the great souls. The Sat actually Sadbhi. Sat means eternal, or Sat means the eternal truth. And those personalities who are always describing the eternal truth, who are always speaking and describing the eternal pastimes of the Lord, those who are always eternally chanting the holy name, those who are eternally pure within and without, those who are eternally the benefactors of mankind, and those who are eternally the servants of the Supreme Lord are called as Sadbhi. Sad, that word Sat alone means true, and true means absolute truth. So those who are the knowers of the absolute truth are also known as Sadbhi. So it's amazing with whatever little information I have understood, because Sanskrit is such an amazing language that the pure Vaishnavas have completely a different dimension uh, that they are able to explain in light of the grammar and the Sanskrit. And as per scriptures, it is said that the spiritual master is to be honored as Sakshat Hari, as the Supreme Lord himself. Like as if that the Supreme Lord, when he is present right in front of us, like either in the deity form, or even if we are fortunate to take his darshan when he's personally present, sakshat, in direct perception. Similarly, the spiritual master is to be honored and respected as Sakshat Hari, as non-different from Sri Hari, as the Supreme Lord himself. Uh, and this is known as Haritva. Haritva, in this particular sense, is used as an adjective and not a noun. And Hari is a noun. So Haritva is not the Vishaya Vigraha. Haritva meaning the principle of Guru or Gurudev, he is not the Vishaya. Vishaya is Sri Krishna, but Guru is the topmost Ashray Vigraha, and therefore Hari being the noun and Haritva being the adjective. So, so Hari is not Guru and Guru is not Hari, but that Haritva is within the Guru. Very, very important principle to understand. And that is therefore we respect the pure acharyas as non-different from Hari. But there is a delineation and a distinction, and a pure devotee or a pure guru, although offered respect of Hari, never accepts it for himself. He accepts it on behalf of Hari. So that's also a very, very important principle. Like Srila Prabhupada in his life, whenever sometimes Prabhupada used to cry, and when the book distribution results used to come back, devotees used to say, Prabhupada, today they distributed X amount of French Bhagavad Gitas, or the Japanese Srimad Bhagavatam, and Prabhupada would simply, like, would be so grateful to those devotees who distributed those books, because that is also known Sakshat Haritva. That is the direct mercy of the Supreme Lord. And he would say, I am an old man, and simply my Guru Maharaj has sent you young boys and girls to assist me. So he never took that pride that you are my disciple or you are this and that. The moment we see that kind of an air in a person, although he might be an initiating guru, then we can understand that he is simply an ordinary person, and doesn't possess the Haritva quality. So it is important to understand and study, until. Therefore, many people ask me this question during lectures, that how can we identify pure devotees? How can we uh, identify a guru, a real guru? So for that, we have to study some scripture, or at least we have to hear the scripture, or at least we have to understand the essence of the scriptures, or the Vaishnava bhajans, or the Vaishnava songs. And this 8 verses of the Gurvashtakam by Srila Vishwanath Chakravati Thakura has elaborately describing all these. Actually speaking, although I am just such a small entity and my capacity is so low, we have been actually, I'm surprised myself. Today is being the 13th day, 13 days, almost 2 hours, hour and a half. Every weekend we have been discussing this shloka, this particular Mangalarti or the Gurvashtakam, the 8 verses, and we are still into the 7th verse, and still in the very first line. So can you imagine how many transcendental qualities of the pure devotees are packed in such uh, teachings in the form of either bhajans or literature or Vaishnava literature or scriptures? So we have to have that foundation. And that is one of the reasons why I decided to go into detail into all these verses. It is good for me as the speaker itself, because it kind of imbibes and reminds me of how great these acharyas are. Look at their haritva, how much they are sakshat haritva, how much they are not different from Hari, although they are not Hari, but their qualities, their compassion, and their seva or their service for pleasing Hari. Anukulyana Krishna Anushilanam Tad Bhakti Ruttam. The highest bhakti, the topmost bhakti is pleasing Krishna. That is beyond the clutches of knowledge, gyan, or dry philosophical speculation, or even beyond the karma, which most people cannot even understand. And it is only by the mercy of these pure acharyas, this pure philosophy and pure bhakti is brought to us. That is Sakshat Hari. That is Sakshat Hari presented by the devotee form of the Lord. So this is a very, very important thing. So Haritva is an adjective and Hari is the noun. So if Haritva was a noun and Hari is a noun, then yes, they are actually the same persons. But Haritva is an adjective and Hari is a noun. And Hari is the Vishaya Vigraha, and everybody else besides Hari or besides the Supreme Lord is Ashray. Ashray. So Vishaya means the object or the goal of pleasing, or the object of goal of service. That is Vishaya Vigraha. So the object for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, Vishaya Vigraha, is Radha Krishna, and in particular Srimati Radharani. But obviously, if one understands this principle nicely, even though the Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas are manjaris, especially who are the intimate servitors of Sri Radha, they bring joy to Krishna. So directly they are serving Krishna, and even when they are not directly serving Krishna, they are only serving Sri Radha, they are still serving Krishna. So this principle should never be forgotten. They're still serving Sri Krishna, because that's what Sri Krishna wants. And whatever the desire of the person who we are serving, the desire of the person that we are fulfilling and we are making happy, then it is that is considered perfect service. So some or the other, whether the Gaudiya Acharyas where they are Radha Dasyam, and sometimes they even display the mood of sometimes anger or despising Krishna, but it is a very transcendental mood where internally Krishna loves it, that cannot be even described even in the choice verses of the Vedas, or that are being offered with with maybe thousands and thousands of bhoga, or elaborate temple decorations, or offerings. The words of the manjaris, even though they may be harsh, the words of the gopis, that may be even very, very harsh to Krishna sometimes, are are like the best offering that he has ever experienced. So that's why they are both, Radha Krishna are both the Vishaya uh, Vigraha, the objects of worship, the objects or the goal, the final goal, especially in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. But otherwise, generally speaking, also, Vishaya Vigraha is the Supreme Lord, or any of his avatars that are the object of somebody who believes in God. That at the end of the day, whether in the dasatva, whether in the mellow, or the relationship of servant, or relationship with the Lord, of friendship, or relationship with the Lord as a fatherly or a motherly figure, and then of course the Madhurya Rasa being the relationship one can have with the Lord as a paramour and a beloved and a beloved. So that is all these relationships. The ultimate goal is the Vishaya Vigraha, Sri Krishna, who is Hari. And Haritva is the quality that he bestows to his most uh, trusted and most intimate servitors. And from this, we can understand that Hari and Guru are related to each other as a noun is to an adjective. Just like a noun and adjective are related, similarly, Hari and Guru are related just like a noun and an adjective. A noun and an adjective. Guru is the only one who is capable of making a jiva sakshatkar, or self-realized, or make the jivas realized, or impart realization. That is called sakshatkar. Like we use this word atma sakshatkar. Basically it means that it is self-realization. Atma means self, and sakshatkar means realization. But sakshatkar means the final realization, or the final goal, that only the guru can be able, is capable of doing that, bringing in close proximity to Krishna and bringing in close proximity to Hari. Therefore these two words are used, sakshat haritvena. Hence he is called sakshat, non-different from Sri Hari. So the way Bhagwan is eternal, similarly Sri Guru is also eternal. Guru Tattva is eternal. Sri Krishna did not become Bhagwan all of a sudden. He is always Bhagwan. Like he tells Brahmaji, Evam Agraha. I was the one who was there, only I was there before creation, and after the annihilation, only I remain. So, and then so many different Anadir Adir Govinda. He has no beginning and he has no end. He is the Adi. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. He is the the first being and the eternal being. So similarly, Krishna did not, we can say that God did not become God, or Krishna did not Bhagavan all of a sudden. Previously he was an ordinary being, and then he became Bhagavan. So this is what is floating on in the Mayavad philosophy. Oh, you don't know, Bhaiya, you are Bhagavan. You just have to follow our instructions, and then when you attain full realization, then you will realize that you will become Bhagavan. So a Jivatma who is an ordinary mortal, he will become Bhagavan. This is the kind of philosophies that people are floating around, and that sounds so lucrative. because nobody wants to become an eternal servant. When somebody says that, you know what, actually speaking, you, the soul, regardless of what body you are, whether in the material world or in the spiritual world, now when you are imperfected or you'll be perfected, you are always going to be an eternal servant. And then there's this other philosophy that says, Arey Baba, right now because of illusion, because of Maya, because you're covered by the three modes of material nature, you know, you are identifying yourself with this world and this and that. At the end of the day, you are so aham, you are he, you are that supreme person. Aham Brahmasmi is translated as such, that I am that supreme Lord. So that is something that we will graduate into. How can that be possible? One time, Srila Prabhupada, I remember, uh, many devotees used to come and discussions used to take place. And then sometimes in the society, we find that a such and such a person who is supposed to be leading people on a spiritual platform, people are also uh, addressing that such and such a personality as Bhagwan, such and such, or Bhagwan, such and such, with that prefix to their names. And then Prabhupada would simply laugh and say, you know, what kind of Bhagwan you are? When your teeth is hurting, then you're crying like a baby and then going to the dentist. And you cannot even stop the nature of call for 5 minutes in the morning. You have to have the bathroom door open. Otherwise, you know, you are in big trouble if you have to stand outside for a long time. So what kind of Bhagwan you are? So this is the thing. These things, these false philosophies are floating around, and we have to be very careful. That is why Mahaprabhu has warned, Mayavadi Bhashya Shunile Hoy Sarvanash. So while Sri Krishna was in the Garbha or the womb of the stuti was done by the demigods. Just to give you an example, the proof of his Bhagavata, that Krishna is always God, whether he takes birth out of the womb of a particular mother for enacting a particular pastime, or he does not, he always remains God. So similarly, when when Krishna was still in the womb of Devaki, the different demigods, all the denizens in the heavens, etc., they knew that Devaki is the bearer of the supreme personality of Godhead, and they started already offering prayers while Krishna enacted the pastimes. The Supreme Lord enacted the pastimes uh, of still being in the womb of Devaki. So, like that, we have to understand Guru Tattva is eternal. We understand from Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a verse, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Amar Agya, Guru Hoya, Taro Idesh, Jare Dekho, Tare Kaho, Krishna Updesh. The significance of this verse is that one who is linked to the Supreme, one who is always in thought, deed, uh, every action, every word, every thought of theirs is simply for Hari, for the pleasing of Hari. Such a para Brahmanishto. Krishna is Param Brahman. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, the word is used that Arjun says that you are Para Brahma, Param Dhamam, Paritra Pavamam Bhuman. So you are Param Brahma. We are all Brahma. We are all spiritual particles, the Jiva. But Krishna is Param Brahma. So someone who is Brahmanistha, one who is Krishna conscious, completely Krishna conscious, one can understand that uh, that such one personalities who are fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord, who are intimate to the Supreme Lord, who are very close to the Supreme Lord, the Lord chooses to empower them as his intimate and accomplished associate and to assume the role of a guru. So this is very important to understand this principle. Just like we have discussed this with this example, that when a son grows up and there is so much love between the father and son, and as the son is completely mature enough to understand everything that the Father desires, the Father also entrusts everything on the Son and tells him all the secrets, whether it is business or so many other things that he wants to share, which he is not sharing when the child is much younger or immature. So similarly, uh, Krishna has those select personalities that he sends in the form of pure devotees or guruho. Just like we can see in the material world, a PhD holder can only confer a PhD degree. So supposing if there is a thesis to be examined, then for a candidate for PhD, so who are the examiners? Who are the ones in that conference that are going to interview or look at the thesis of a PhD candidate? It's all of them on that panel are all doctorates, sometimes double doctorates, sometimes. So only those who have that can give it. Those who do not have it, so can a PhD be conferred by somebody who has just done 10th grade or undergraduate or BSc or even MSc? No, they cannot confer PhD. So similarly, we have to understand that he cannot perform the actions uh, for a person holding that degree, nor can he proclaim himself as the owner of such powers for that candidate. Uh, or those who are not PhDs, they cannot perform that actions reserved for persons holding that degree. So an MSc or a BSc cannot perform the reserved action of a PhD who can confer that degree and proclaim himself as the owner of such powers. No, it is not possible. Or a candidate himself cannot confer a PhD upon himself by proclaiming that he has got the powers. He has got the powers to confer a doctorate on himself, right? So neither a non-PhD holder can confer him with such a degree. So similarly, in the spiritual world, one can assume the role of an acharya only when one is empowered by his preceptor and can perform the functions of a guru or being instructed to do so. We have to understand this very, very nicely, and this is a tattva that we should never forget, because this is something that only pure and intimate devotees are. There are Vaikuntha is considered to be, that includes the different Vaikuntha lokas of the different Narayana lokas and the different planetary systems where the different incarnations of the Lord reside with their devotees. And then the Ayodhya or the Kailash or the Ayodhya or the Mathura, Dwarka and Golok Vrindavan. So that comprises 75% of the creation, and 25% is material. Now, within that 75% of the creation, it is not vacant or it is not some voidism. It is full of living entities, just like a big city like Bombay or Delhi or New York or Los Angeles. They're full of people, they're crowded. Similarly, can you imagine that we have hardly discovered the population of living entities on this planet Earth in the 8,400,000 species of life, right? And we have not even gone beyond a certain realm of certain planets that are within close proximity to this world. But there are so many galaxies and so many different uh, planetary systems of Brahmans that are there in this 25% that are also fully that are inhabited by the human form and other species of life. But in that, and that all comprises, let's say, whatever that population is, right? It's, let us say that number is, just for understanding, 25 or 25% of this material world. 75% is spiritual. So 75% of these spiritual planets are inhabited 75 times more by those liberated souls in the service of the different forms of the Supreme Lord, whether Narayan or Vishnu or Nrsingadev, etc., etc., etc. So out of all those devotees in Vaikuntha, not all those devotees in the spiritual world are chosen, are the chosen ones to come down and do this service. Like, we have experienced through our practical experience in our life, that when we have, especially in India, when there is a wedding, and during that time in India, weddings are a big thing. And most of the weddings, even for a middle class family, easily you can expect about anywhere from 400 to 500 people. And those who are upper middle class, it can cross over 1,000 people, 2,000 people in one wedding. And in our childhood, we have seen that weddings used to go on for 7 days, the entire program. People used to come from different parts of India, different relatives, and guest accommodations were made. And then the different components of the wedding, the singing of the songs, the sangeet, and the applying of the henna, the mehndi, and all those things. And then not only that, I remember in our childhood, there was one ceremony before even the wedding, where all the relatives were invited for invitation, for simply writing the information. We, in our community, it is called kirtanya. And in that time, what happens is, especially because we were born in the Ustimag family, they were followers of Sri Vallabhacharya, Srinathji. And even today, that is, I don't know if it is done today or not, but I remember that they used to actually call the devotees from the temple, from the Haveli, and they used to perform all these wonderful kirtans uh, to bring auspiciousness. And then they would write the invitation to all that were to be sent out, maybe 500 of them. They would write their names and they would keep it ready, and there would be one invitation to the Supreme Lord Srinathji himself. My dear Srinathji, please, you are invited to come to this wedding. And then there would be this. So all these, but during all these this ceremonies, a few selected people in the family were the pillar of this entire program that went on, right from the inviting to the actual ceremonies that were happening, and actually the wedding day. Handful of people, core people, that the father and mother of the bride or the groom would completely trust them. Like if they said that, okay, what about the caterer? Has he been taken care of? Oh yeah, not a problem. It's done. Don't worry about that. What's next? Oh, what about the jewelry and this and that? And so many components are there. So these core people in the family were so full of trust that it could not be trusted to anyone and everyone to, go ahead and buy that expensive jewelry, or to go ahead and buy that expensive, because at that time they used to cook the feast, in the, even when they rented a hall or something, they used to invite the cooks, and then they would bring all the ingredients and they would be cooked in front of them. I still remember that sometimes, one of my uncles was allotted actually on the wedding day itself, during the reception, to make sure that the caterer is not cheating on the ice cream plates. He has to count how many ice cream plates came in and how many ice cream plates were distributed, and then they were charged per plate. So, to make a long story short, the family and the guests can number thousands, but the core family or the core trusted persons are extremely very few, that they can trust them with everything, with lakhs of rupees or hundreds and thousands of dollars for a big ceremony like that, where they know it, the money will not be misappropriated, where they know the best at heart of the parents, that this is very hard earned money, every penny, every item, that things have to be bargained for. Even when things have to be brought, the 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 kilos of rice or the dal or the sweets and this and that, everything was negotiated very nicely on behalf of the father and mother, the groom, the bride and groom's parents, and best quality with the best pricing. So all this was done by the core group. Similarly, we have to understand that in Vaikunth there are thousands and millions and millions and billions of devotees, but not all are interested, or not all are capable, or not all are empowered by the Supreme Lord to do a very, very special task of preaching and retrieving the souls from this material world. So if we examine our Srila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, for example, I mean, last Kartik, I had done a seminar in Sri Vrindavan Dham on Srila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra. It lasted a good 4.5 hours, split into 2 days. And the essence that I'm thinking about right now is when we say Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale. So he is Preshtha. So these acharyas or these gurus who are been empowered have to be very dear to Krishna. Krishna Presthaya Bhutale. That indication is that he came down to the material world. Bhutale, that means he came from Golok Vrindavan. So like that, we can examine when we are actually studying or meditating on the pranam mantras of our Gaudiya Acharyas. It is revealed. So Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. So Shri Mate. Now Shri Mate can adjectively also mean that somebody who is a male is honored with that name Shri Mate, like that prefix. But Shri Mate, if we analyze it a little bit further, Shri means Radharani for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and Mate means always one who is absorbed in the service of Sri Radha and the happiness of Sri Radha. So right there, Bhaktivedanta Swami is that personality who's always absorbed. And although he's preaching to us, giving us the morning class, or dictating those Bhagavatam purports or Bhagavad Gita classes, or even doing some administration work, which some people cannot understand, that how can a Swamiji be involved in all this administration work. One day in Bombay, Prabhupada had his quarters on the 5th floor. If one has visited the Juhu temple, today it is turned into a museum. So every evening, Srila Prabhupada, I think between 5:30 and 6:30, used to give darshan to anybody who would like to visit. And a lot of people from the society, from Bombay, business people, and just people in general would come along with devotees to have darshan of Prabhupada. And Prabhupada would sometimes take questions, answers, or some point of discussion would be there, and a Krishna conscious topic would ensue, and Prabhupada would elaborate on it. So suddenly, while he was speaking on a Krishna conscious subject, one disciple of his came in with some question about some administration and about something to do with the temple construction or something to that extent. But the essence being that one business person who was sitting there, who kind of, Prabhupada saw visibly on his face that what kind of a Swami you are, that you're doing all this kind of things. So Prabhupada then called him, come here. Later on, after everybody left, he lifted his kurta and he says, put your ear on it. And then from that person then mentions that he actually heard the Hare Krishna Mahamantra going on constantly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that is what Srimati means. Hara, O Radhe, O Gopis, O Manjari. We explained that to you all last time. There are so many different meanings of the word Hari. Hara also means all those internal energies of Krishna that are the gopis, the manjaris, who are actually the expansion of Sri Radha, who take away the dukkha of Radha, who take away the misery of Radha. Therefore, they are also known as Hara. Amazing. The word Hari and Hara, they are just like, and as we go deeper, these things manifest. The Sfurtis come in within our hearts. So it is not just that Krishna alone takes away the burden and the miseries of the world. When he says, Aham tam sarva papebhyo, there is someone also out there who takes away the misery and the burden of Krishna. And that is Sri Radha and the gopis. So they are Paramhara in one sense. So that is why their name comes first in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So these are some of the secrets. Why the word? Why not Radha Krishna, Radha Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radha Radha? No. So this Hara means it is the whole internal potencies of Krishna, without which Radha and Krishna are incomplete. We explained that. These are Prabhupada's words, that whenever a prime minister or a president, a great personality, when they say that Prime Minister Modi is coming to Canada, or when they say that President Donald Trump is going to visit Tokyo, so they do not say, along with President Trump or Prime Minister Modi, there is a whole entourage of persons that go with them, whether they're going to Tokyo or they are visiting another country or another city. They're never alone. The security team is there, the advisory team is there, even their personal chefs are there, their doctor is there, their driver is there, their chauffeur is there, or if they're on a plane, their personal pilots are there. So never, Radha Krishna are never alone, never ever. So this is our Gaudiya understanding. And the word Hara denotes Namna Makari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis. Mahaprabhu has given that hint. We have to catch that word Nija in the Srishtastakam. And therefore, that word Hara. And that Hara means what? The topmost Hara means Radharani, who stole Krishna's heart. We discussed that in one of the verses when we discussed how Krishna started wearing the peacock feather, when we were describing the verse, Shri Radhika Madhavyorapara Madhurya Leela Guna Rupa Namnam Prati Shanaswa Danalolupasya Vande Guroho Shri Charnaravindam. Shri Radhika Madhavyorapara Madhurya Leela, the sweet pastimes. We discussed in that particular verse, a small pastime came from Radha Charnamrit, courtesy our Dr. Nanpran Prabhu. I had read that a while ago, and I kind of, was reminiscing what is one of the Madhurya Leelas that I can mention, because those Leelas are unlimited. Apara. Sri Radhika Madhav Apara Madhurya Leela. Apar means unlimited. But of course, we have a limited time. So I said, okay, let me remember that pastime. And in that pastime, how Krishna meets Radharani at Prem Sarovar and how they are enamored by each other. And then it's time, and then there's a discussion that, Krishna says that you don't know me, Radha? I'm that famous Krishna. And then Radharani with very, very sarcasm says, oh, you're that Krishna. We heard of that thief who used to steal, who steals butter in Gokul, etc., etc., etc. Right? So then Krishna says in a very sarcasm, oh, look at these persons from Barsana. They are calling the kettle, the pot is calling the kettle black. Like in the saying in Hindi goes, Ulta chor kotwal ko date. The thief is actually preaching to the policeman, or actually he's chastising the policeman. Is this the situation? Look at this, persons of Barsana. She has stolen everything from me. And Radharani says, what did I steal from you? And Krishna says, you stole my heart. So this is Hara. How beautiful. Just when we chant one name, Hara, Hare, the entire Guru Parampara is present in it. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Gaur Krishna Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad, Srila Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Krishnaraj Kaviraj Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami. They're all present. The entire Ashta Sakhis, the Ashta Manjaris. As a matter of fact, all the gopis that Krishna performed Ras Leela, they're all present in the word Hara. And they've all stolen Krishna's mind and heart. And Krishna has stolen their hearts and their minds. Vraje prasiddha navnita choram gopangana dukkula choram aneka paap arjita choram aneka paap arjita choram chora agraganyam purusham namami. I offer, Bilva Mangal Thakur says, that I offer my obeisances unto that thief. Hara means to take away, to steal, unto that thief who is known, who is very popular, Raje Prasiddha in Vrindavan, in Raj, as Navnita Choram, as the stealer of Makhan, Navneet or butter. Gopangana Dukkula Choram, and he takes away all the miseries of all the gopis, the gopas of Gokul. Anytime, whenever the demons attack, Krishna was right there. The Davanal, Krishna protected them from the forest fire. Krishna protected them from Agasur, from Bakasur, from so many demons. The Krishna protected from the onslaught of Indra's anger with the Govardhan Leela. Gopangana Dukkula Choram, he steals away the miseries of the Vrajvasis. Aneka Papar Jita Choram, and for the normal people, for those Baddha Jivas in the material world, he takes away all their karmic reactions, all their impious activities. He steals those away. Aneka Pap, Anek, unlimited, many Arjita Choram, he takes away. Chor Agraganyam Purusham Namami. Chor Agraganyam. Agraganyam means the foremost, and Chor means thief. The foremost thief. I offer my humble obeisances. Shri Hari. Hara. So we have to, in Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, we can see that. Namam Vishnupada Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitina. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine. Gauravani is Sakshat Haritvena. He is speaking, teaching the philosophy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Pracharine. Not everybody can do that in Vaikuntha, although they have got millions and billions of souls times 75% than the material world. Only a few select. That is why Krishna Prishthaya Bhaktale. Instead of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Pranam Mantra, Namam Vishnupadaya, again Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale. Who? Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati iti namine. That personality was so dear to Krishna, known as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He came down to this material world from Golok Vrindavan. And who is he? Sri Varsha Bhanvi Devi Daitaya Kripa Abdaye. Varsha Bhanvi Devi is Radharani. Daitaya means the dear servant of Radharani. Kripa Abdaye, one who gave, who has those qualities of Radha, who has learned from Sri Radha of bestowing mercy as big as an ocean. Kripa Abdaye, Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha, was always giving us that philosophy, teaching us the science, Vijnana, Vishesha Gyan iti Vijnana, not some ordinary knowledge of Dharma, Artha, Kam and Moksha of the Vedas. Vishesha Gyan, topmost bhakti, Uttam Bhakti, Krishna, Uttam Bhakti. Shri Varsha Bhanvi Devi Daita Kripa Abde Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha. I offer my dandavats to that personality. Madhura Ujjvala Prema, one who is able to describe the Ujjvala Prem, which is the pinnacle of Gaudiya Ras. Jaya Jaya Ujjvala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar, Parkiya Bhave Jaha Vrjeta Prachar. Shri Varsha Bhanvi Devi Daitaya Kripa Abde Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhura Ujjvala Premadya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhakti Da. Giving the bhakti in the lines of Sri Rupa Goswami, Rupa Manjari. That is why Sakshat Haritvena, he is indeed Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Namaste Gauravani, again even in his Pranam Mantra, his Divine Grace's Pranam Mantra, Namaste Gauravani, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the personified Gauravani. Namaste Gauravani. Shri Varsha Bhanvi Devi Daitaya Kripa Abde Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhura Ujjvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gauravani Rupanuga Viruddha Pasiddhanta Dvanta Harine. And anything that is short of impure bhakti on the lines of Rupa Goswami, he would cut into pieces. Dvanta. Dvanta means to cut. As it is. That's what our Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Swami Prabhupada, we pride in as it is. Giving the Kripa of Radharani as it is. Giving the Kripa of Shyam Sundar as it is. Giving the Kripa of all those recipients of those dear servants of Shri Radha as it is. Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dina Tarine. He is the embodiment, Shri Murti, of Gauravani. Sakshat Haritvena. Again, perfect application of the word Sakshat Haritvena. Namaste Gauravani. Very, very analogous. Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye. Personified Gauravani. The words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personified is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Pranam Mantra. Nama Bhakti Vinodaya Satchitananda Namine Gaur Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Sakshat Haritvena. Analogous to Gaur Shakti Swarupaya. Swarup means form, Sakshat. Gaur Shakti means the empowerment, one who possessed the divine potency of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are our acharyas. Shara Goswamis. Krishna Kirtana Gana Ratana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirmatsara Pujito Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bharo Avantar Karo Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jeev Gopalako Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Bhara. One who is empowered with the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhuvi Bhuvo came to this material world. Bhara, Ahantarako, to dispel or to take away the burden of material world by giving them pure bhakti. That is Sakshat Haritvena. It's amazing how our acharyas are so much Nana Shastra Vicharane Nipunavo Shad Dharma Sanstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manya Sharnya Karo Radha Krishna Padaravind Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Shri Jeev Gopalako. Nana Shastra Vicharanake Nipuno, they were such experts in the scriptures. As it is, Shastra is Krishna, Dharmantu Shashat Bhagvat Pranitam, that is Sakshat Haritvena. Shada Dharma, Sada Dharma Sanstapako. Sata Dharma means that Sat Dharma of serving Sri Sri Radha Krishna, the Jugala form. That is Sadharma. The truth principle of religiosity from the Gaudiya perspective, that is Sadharma. Not the principles of religiosity of awe and reverence, of Vaikuntha, or of Dasya Ras, or of Sakhya, or of Vatsalya, but it's of Madhurya Ras. That is Sadharma in this particular context. Sadharma, Satadharma Sanstapaka, they established those pure religious principles of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yadi Gaurang na hoite tabe ki hoito kemone dharitam de Radhara Mahima Prema Rasasiva Jagat Janatake. How would we have known the pinnacle of the zenith of the love that Radharani has? The Prema, Krishna Prem, possessed by Radharani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never came. So these Goswamis established what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to. They elaborated that Golok Prem. They expounded Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale. Whatever is there in the core of the heart of Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami established by Nana Shastra Vicharanake Nipuno. They were experts in describing the pure devotional service, especially in the Madhurya Rasa. And how Loka Nam Hitakaranam Tribhuvane, nobody like them in the three worlds. Loka Nam Hitakaranam, for the benefit of mankind. Manya Sharano Karo. Srinivas Acharya is praying. He is the one who composed the Shada Goswami Astakam. That please accept me. I surrender at your lotus feet, O 6 Goswamis. Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Anandena Mattakaliko. They're always absorbed in the service of Radha and Krishna's lotus feet. And always in bliss in their bhajan, thought, word, and deed. Matta aligo, crazy. Matta. Matta means intoxicated. Just not absorbed, but absorbed in an intoxicated way. Just like somebody in a mundane world is intoxicated day and night, an alcoholic or a drug addict. They were mattaliko in the bhajan of Radha and Krishna. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo. Shri Gauranga Gunar Varnena Vidho Shraddha Sammadvanvito Papo Tapa Nikuntano Tanu Bhajad Govinda Ganamritai. Always singing the glories of Govinda. in taking away all these tapotraya unmulanam, like Srimad Bhagavatam has the capacity to take away the threefold miseries of Adhyatmic, Adibhautik, and Adidaivic klesha. So similarly, the six Goswamis are capable of doing that by taking away these miseries, by being Sakshat Haritvena, stealing our miseries, just as the quality they imbibe from Radharani, how Radharani steals the heart of Krishna. A fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. We are glad that they learned that from Radharani. Hari Hari, Shri Hari. So that's how we should see. The Shastras describe so many beautiful verses. Yasya deve para bhaktir, yatha deve tatha, guru tasyate kathita hi, artah prakashante mahatmana. In the Shveta Sutra Upanishad, one who has unflinching devotion for the Supreme Lord and is directed by the spiritual master, in whom he has similar unflinching faith, can see the Supreme Personality Godhead, see the Supreme Lord by revelation, prakashante, because they are Sakshat Haritvena. One cannot understand Krishna just by mental speculation. For one who does not take a bona fide spiritual master, it is impossible to even begin to understand Krishna. What to talk about even getting to the stages of anartha nivritti, nishtha, ruchi, asakti, bhav, prem, and even within the prem, reaching those heights, entering into the Madhurya Ras, serving those devotees in Madhurya Ras. Impossible. We need training and guidance under such bona fide acharyas, under bona fide gurus. So I will stop here today. I will continue this verse again for the third session next Saturday. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vande Guruho Sri Charanarvindam. Vancha kalpataru vischa kripa sindhu bevacha. Patitanam pavane vaishnavebhyo. Namo Namah.